Hello, everyone, you dead set legends. What is going on? You're hanging and banging with some of the best people all around the world. We're here for a bit of fun, a bit of a weekend review, just talking all things arm wrestling as everyone is getting their flex on, and it's a bit of a weekend review. We had so much fun last week having a chat, so we thought, let's go again. Let's go around the room again. Of course, getting his pump on. The one and only, and arguably at one stage in the world, was the number one arm wrestler. And we are talking about Hollywood, Don Underwood. He's joining us. He has come back. He is up and about. And then, of course, the man that everyone loves to try and dunk on. Doesn't matter what he does. He could give Mother Teresa some donuts for a birthday and someone would still hang shit on him. And I'm talking about my good friend Ryan, Blue Bowen.
I haven't poked my head up or even looked at the internet in the last 4 days. I don't know. They're still dunking on me. Still.
All the time.
Surely not. I don't believe it.
It's anything to do. And then I think it's against the law if I go live and don't have my tag team partner live from Canadian Nationals the first time in about 3 years. And we have Uncle John has joined us. And then, of course, the man that refuses to change his nickname after he has found out one of the greatest has got his nickname. He's trying to get a flex on. And we're talking about Australia's Hollywood, Matt Connelly. Gentlemen, how are you all?
Living the dream, baby. Living the dream.
Does anyone else...
Fake Hollywood.
That'll get you hurt, Matt. That'll get you hurt. Now, it's a shout out to everyone in the chat. Yeah, it is definitely a different time than what we're used to going on. So appreciate everyone joining us. But is there a bit of air sucked out at the moment? When it got to this weekend, and I was still riding high from King of the Table, and there was no arm wrestling on, there's a little bit of arm wrestling that we can talk about, but nothing we could sink our teeth into, not make a million hype videos for. Like, what is I'll start with you, Uncle John, because you're actually at an arm wrestling event, but we did a lot of the build up together at King of the Table, and then this week, nothing.
Well, I can tell you my perspective from being here. So I'm in Winnipeg at the Canadian National Championships. There's a lot of people here, and it's actually been really, really nice because in arm wrestling, especially on YouTube and on the internet, we're very, very obsessed with who's at the top, who's the best, who's the most charismatic, whatever it is. And this is pure, I want to get on that table and pull you. Nobody cares what happened last week here. Everybody is solely focused on the job they have to do, and people are excited. There's some good names here. So it's been nice, actually, to kind of separate from last weekend. As much as I loved it, as much as I loved King of the Table 4, it's like, it's just different, right? That grassroots, like back to the beginning. This is tournament arm wrestling. It's been really good. Since we haven't done it since 2019. So I'm having a blast.
Now, are you competing there? Are we going to see Uncle John national champion?
No, I decided not to pull because I really, really wanted to focus on, being Uncle John, being the commentator. And let me tell you, I stood on my feet, ran around, and yelled as loud as I could for about 12 hours yesterday. I would not be pulling well. I would not perform well today in the open class if I tried to pull it. It's just not something that is advisable.
No, you can't do that. You can't do that. Ryan, you've come in all the all your videos, your cinematic videos and things like that. Are we still going? Are we still going in that direction? You should have made
yeah, big time, man.
Where was our sad video that there was no arm wrestling? Where was the tumbleweed video of an old Western, and it goes past the cactus because it's like Chance Shaw had a match. But that was about it.
Yeah, no, I've actually had a nice couple of days, or 3 or 4 days. I went down to visit my parents in the state. I haven't done that in a couple of years, and thanks to COVID. And to be honest, I haven't even looked at the internet. Barely. I've barely done a thing, so I don't even know what I've missed. So it was all right. I think I timed it well, but I've just enjoyed the kind of wind down and relax and the success from the King of the Tables time. man, I'm excited for what's on the horizon. My brain was starting to go to who next for Levan and things like that. Like I was starting to dream up stuff, and I'm like, yeah. But then it'll ramp back up. There's some stuff coming for sure.
Well, you can't. You are not allowed to answer that. If I've learned anything this week, you cannot answer that question. Who's next for Levan? Because you will be attacked 7 ways from Sunday. If you don't mention like 3 gorillas and a tank, if that's not if you actually answer with a human name, you will get absolutely cutthroat. Matt, you've come on the scene. You've had a bit of fun with Ryan. What was it like? Are you still buzzing when you had 18,000 people listening to your commentary? How did you, once the internet turned off, how'd you go just getting on with your week since King of the Table?
Amazing week, amazing opportunity to be sitting there with someone that I respect so highly, with Ryan, and then Lachlan Adair came in. I didn't know he was coming in the last minute. It's like, oh, by the way, Lachlan's coming in. Oh, fantastic! And then to jump on with you, lovely people, on the Monday as well. It was, as I said, I feel very lucky, very humble to have that experience as an arm wrestling fan and trying to get involved in the sport to promote it, to help promote it, and then a couple of years into it, to be sort of sitting with you guys and talking about it is, dream come true in a way.
Yeah, speaking of dream come true, Victor. It's like Ryan Bowen. He's the only one who can beat Levan, given the chance.
I have been here.
6 months.
Word has been, I've seen the word. Yeah, 6 months is all it takes. Uncle John knows that. It takes me 6 months to prepare for anyone. Look. Hey, I've actually been talking to Levan. Like Levan and I are getting pretty buddy at the moment. I don't know. We're having a good time. I think Levan has liked a few of the videos, and each time he likes a video that I put out, he's messaged me, and we've had a bit of a chat, and he's accidentally video called me and things like that. So it's been a whole lot of fun. But I'm ready. I'm ready. Anytime Levan is, I'm ready. Anytime.
Nice.
There you go. The internet has just been broken. All the videos will come out now. Ryan Bowen has called out Levan. You have just now broken the internet, and it's going to be in there. Yeah, I don't know if you guys knew anything or if anything's happening your way, Don. So all I've known of this weekend is Chance Shaw won his super match, won it relatively easy. And in New Zealand, Matuangi Hedda Morris had a match, but he beats everyone in New Zealand. So I watched them both, and after like 10 minutes, arm wrestling was done for the weekend.
Well, you got to look at it like this. The hype was real. We all kind of got in a marathon race waiting for the Levan, and Devin match, and it finally happened. And when it was done, I think all of us had time to sit down and rest and kind of bring our mind back to reality. And a week off's good, and I was a pro wrestler for many years, and a lot of times what we call kill the town or saturate a venue, or you see too much at once and you kind of like, all right, well, I need a break from it. I don't think a week off's bad, especially when you have such a card coming up next Friday that Michael has put together. Giving everybody a chance to want again is super important in any sport. Like I said, you see enough of one thing, you kind of get, now I'm going to take a break, go look at something else. And this weekend, 4th of July here, give us a break, get to see something beautiful and a representation of something we're proud of. Only to look forward to next Friday, next Saturday, in an epic event, again, right here stateside at the market.
Yeah, last thing you want to do is oversaturate the market. And that's sort of happened. You see this in the UFC a little bit. They've gone from having one event every couple of months that was absolutely massive, and everybody that I would know would be like, when's the next event? We got to get together. We have, we'd go around somebody's house. We'd all, buy the pay-per-view, and it was a huge, big event. To now it's on a couple of times a week. They have the Ultimate Fighter. They got the Ultimate Fighter Brazil, the Ultimate Fighter this. They've got the Fight Night on Friday. They got the pay-per-view card on Sunday, and they got Dana White's Contender Series. They got these other things, and it's like, man, I haven't got 80 hours a week to watch all this content. Like they've sort of pushed it to the point where it's like, I'll watch fights when I'm really interested in it. But if you've got so many going on, it's too saturated. They've cornered the market. They carried it. They brought it there. But it's like, I think if they had stuck to like a feeder league, if they've really gone sort of and created something outside of the UFC and kept it separate as sort of like, you're trying to get onto the main card, kept those main cards every 3 or 4 months, that would have worked better. But having it on so regularly and under the banner of UFC Fight Night, yeah, okay, I get it. It's not the pay-per-view, but you're still calling it UFC. If you're going to do it successfully, you're going to have it as a feeder league. These are the guys that are trying to make it into the big show. Keep the big show every 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, but we're lucky. We've got 4 big leagues as we speak now. The UFC's one banner, so I don't think arm wrestling saturating the market. I think we, if done properly, can have a main event every month. If we have 3 East versus West, 3 King of the Tables, 3 pay-per-view factories, and a couple of arm wars, then that competition to be the UFC, the Elite League, I think we're in a real good
Don and
here.
Uncle John. I want to throw this question to you guys. I want to know if you guys as a promoter, if you could just have all of it stitched up, you knew everything was done and production was not going to be a problem. If you could host any match this year and you get to be the boss and you get to be the promoter and you get to call it and you want it, and your goal is not just to entertain yourself, but to grow the sport to the maximal capacity possible. Who you guys picking? Who's your main event?
Devin's next match.
Just Devin's next match?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think any promoter would take. I think any promoter would take that, John. I mean, I think that's just what everybody's odds are on. I think if you want to grow the sport, take it to a different place, find matchups like we're seeing in Paul Talbot and Pablo. You got different weight classes, but super high level of pullers, and I think that's what it's going to take to stop focusing on classes and put together matches. Go back to like over the top style stuff where it's one class, or just good, solid talent against each other, and getting the most violent, most entertaining matches. That's what I would focus on. And definitely there's going to be highlights of a couple of guys. You got to ask the public, what do you want? And it seems to be like Corey Miller here, Giannis, and people that are truly entertaining, find those matches, and I think you're going to find success there with the general population.
I agree with Don. The way I look at it is you have to have the pointy end, and Devin is the pointy end to get people to come in because he's a lightning rod no matter what. But Devin alone, in my opinion, is not going to grow the sport as much as if we could have Devin at the pointy end, and then we really be careful with the next 3 or 4 matches that we have on that card. So we're really picking people who could become the next Devin, who could become the next guy that people are really, really wanting to see. Because as a promoter, I would want to be thinking 4 or 5 events out, okay? I want to have this guy pull at number 1 because by number 5, he's going to be more of a household name. And then that's going to work better for my promotion.
The other angle for me is when I think about the matches in demand, obviously Devin versus anyone is always going to be big. I'd personally like to see Hermes Gasparini against Levine. I don't know. That's the one that I would love. I'd freaking go nuts for that. I don't know. I just love that shit.
I think it would be entertaining.
Anything for him now. I don't think he has anything for him now.
Well, if he got given 6 months more prep or something, I don't know. Like no one's got him to Levine right now. But I don't know.
Didn't he lose like 2 matches ago? Didn't he lose to somebody like
Alex Cadet?
Yeah, he lost to Cadet. I don't know what happened there.
So then we can go around the room because not only do you all enjoy doing the YouTube side of things, you all compete, whether it be in tournament and super matches, and some of you have got some matches coming up. What is the ultimate time if you were presented with a high caliber match and a promoter comes to you and says, we're going to give you $50,000 or whatever it is, like, what is your ultimate time where you would feel peaked and would crush, say, Devin? I'm putting you up against Devin. How long would you need?
6 months. No.
Yeah.
No.
I think you're right. I think, if you're going to get a high caliber puller that actually has the potential to do something and really is focused, Devin is a tricky arm wrestler. He's not unbeatable. There's lanes, and I found them. You guys have seen it from history that he's, vulnerable in. So finding somebody that knows the sport that actually has an opportunity, I believe that 6 months is more than enough for Devin. Now, you change that name on the other side of the script and you put Levin on there, I don't think 6 months is going to be enough for anybody. Potentially a year. I think the guy's just, he's 5-6 years ahead of a lot of folks. You've seen where he began. You've seen where he's at. And it just goes to show, I think his potential grows even further than what it is now, if he has the reason to train for it.
Yeah. So they're going back to the starting point when it comes to saturating the market and things like that. If we need 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, is it good or bad for the sport? And I'll start with you, Uncle John. Is it good or bad for the sport seeing Devin pull once a year, seeing Levin pull once a year? Or do you want to see them 3 or 4 times a year?
Yeah, of course I want to see them 3 or 4 times a year. It's just a matter of there are guys who want to be the absolute best. And if one guy is willing to go outside of this universe to be the best and to put himself at that level, then it forces other people to do the same. So, for me, if I'm looking at who I want Devin to pull, I'm not as concerned with the level as I am with actually finding someone who could compete verbally with Devin, right? I would consider rerunning Matt Mask and Devin. I think that's a great match? No, but I think that it would be an amazing lead up. I think there's history with the two of them. You know exactly what they can do, and they have put on a hell of a show in the past. I would, just for that alone, I would love to see it, because who else can spar with them? Hollywood, maybe.
Yeah, again, you got to look at, and like I said, it sounds wonderful. I'd love to do it. Which Hollywood are we talking about? Me or that guy?
I think you know.
Well, obviously the bloke that started talking.
We all know who you're talking about. Let's be real. Now, yeah, and that goes back to just the entertainment side. You could put 2 monkeys in the room, but whoever throws the shit the most, or they do it similar, people's going to watch. It really does come down to the entertainment. And I think you're right. Matt Mask could potentially be I enjoy watching the guy. He reminds me of me. From what I hear, he was a fan of mine at one point. He looked at the old Hollywood and seen some things he liked, and he made his own version of it, and I love it. If we can get Travis off the couch, I don't think we can. I think he's stuck under Tyson and Ezra's future, which as well he should be. But there's very few people out there that can give you that verbiage, make it interesting, and don't give a shit what Devin says, because he doesn't matter to them. I know he don't matter to me, and I'd always face the guy. But, that's just one of those things that we might see. But I definitely, 6 months ain't going to do it for me, because I'm old and I need new hips and joints. But one day in the near future, you might actually see that.
Mm-hmm. By the way, I love it when people make claims as to what real arm wrestling fans are. Give me a break. You're pathetic.
Yeah, just had a comment here from Sunka. Thanks for joining in the live chat. Says, Uncle John, this ain't no rap battle. That's a double negative, so you are saying it is a rap battle. Real fans want to see real arm wrestling. So,
look, everybody.
That's been the long debate, hasn't it? And Uncle John, we probably sit on the same side, but that's been a long debate. People love the traditional stuff, but
yeah, well, he's wrong. He's wrong by the data. This is what we've been doing for 60 years. Is arm wrestling a huge sport? No, it's not. What you're talking about, what this guy's talking about, is something that hasn't worked. I love watching a great arm wrestling battle. Don't get me wrong. But my main concern is to drive arm wrestling to more people. And what you are insinuating has not worked. It's just data. It's not my opinion. It's just a fact.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
I think arm wrestling it will just continue to evolve and head more towards the entertainment side. It has to. The traditional style of arm wrestling that we're seeing at the moment, it's not fan friendly. People that are watching for the first time, if you say, "Hey, come out and check this arm wrestling match," and it was 10 minutes before they even got a round started, and it finished with fouls. It's like, well, where was the arm wrestling? It's
Right.
not fun. Yeah, so it's gonna progress. I think in terms of the amount of prep time, I think 3 months is adequate for people that are. If you're at an elite level, 3 months. Why do you need more than that? If you go through a training camp, you get ready for your opponent, you've got your strategy. You should be at a point at that level. You're not trying to get your strength. You're not trying to get your power up high. It should be as high as you could possibly get it. It's more technique, more strategy that you'd be working on different opponents. So I'd happily promote 3-4 matches for the elite guys every year.
Can we? Yeah, absolutely. Can we sustain and have a major event every single month? Do you think there's enough money and interest involved?
I think for sure that a monthly match or event, pay-per-view or otherwise, is important. When I said saturating a market, I mean every day or every weekend having something, especially not an elite level event. You find super matches on every corner now, and you don't know who the hell's in them, so kind of loses the luster of the name. You know, I started super matches back in my company, Top Roll, in 06. Didn't really hear about them much. We made some championship belts. Never heard of those. Well, you look at the market now, and everybody's got a belt on, and you know, it like I said, it takes the luster. You've got to create, and I think we're on the right path with what Mike's doing, giving something away, but keeping them 3 months apart. His promotion, in my opinion, is kind of the way it should be. I don't think we're at a place where people's going to spend a bunch of money looking at something. You know, they will from time to time, but I think you have to create, edit, and show them the highlights. Get away from saying, hey, come watch a tournament, because you're going to get about 15 minutes of watchers, and then the room's going to be empty again. You know, you got to edit. You got to bring characters to the table. Game of Arms had a similar formula that I think that was right on. There could be some changes to it, very little, but you know, that's the success of arm wrestling. Show the tournament, but pieces of it. Create them a finale, selling the tickets to that. Have the characters that people want to see, and you're going to be successful. But nobody seems to want to listen. I put it on the table to multiple promoters with money. They always want to do it their own way. You got to remember, this room that we're in right now, we've been here a long time. We kind of have an idea of what'll work and what won't. I'm not saying it's perfect, but no one seemed to have given that shot yet. So hopefully we'll see that in the near future.
Yeah, we've
I
seen
couldn't
it.
agree with you more. You're saying the same words that are coming out of my mouth.
Absolutely. And Uncle John, I've heard you say that the build-up matters more than the match itself, and I echo those same sentiments. I feel like I know the effort that I'm going down and the pathway I'm heading down is focusing on the production and the coverage of the sport more than like, to me, I'd prefer to invest in production and coverage than the biggest match possible. I think we can get there, and we're all heading there collectively in the right direction, and it'll happen. But it'll take time in the same respect.
I mean, Ryan, when I was at your place, I think it was Monday afternoon before I was heading back, and you said, well, the next match on is the Michael Toddzilla match, and I said, well, how excited are you for this? Because you sort of like, do I want to put in as much effort as I did to promote this match as I did with LeVan and Devin? And I was like, well, LeVan, Devin, you're a 10 out of 10 excited for. What are you for Todd and Michael Todd? And you said about 6.5. I said, well, you do a 6.5 worth of excitement. You can't have saying this is the
relative to LeVan's 10.
Exactly. It's an exciting match. It's a good match. But compared to LeVan and Devin, which is a 10, you can't have 10s every week. It's like, otherwise people just go, if you keep selling the match as this is the biggest match ever, and it's like, well, you said that last week, and then the week before, you have to have that build up. You have to have that crescendo, and it has to come back down. So having matches like Michael Todd and Toddzilla is important because it's a fun, interesting match, but it's not for number one in the world, but it's something that you want to see, but it's not something that requires as much of a build up.
Yeah. I think the match is super significant. And I think, Ryan, the rest of the people may be looking at like it's a 6.5. The surprise factor is I believe this match is going to be a 10. unlike the build up to Levin and Devin, which was a 10, and I think we got a 2, in my opinion. You're going to see a different level. Michael Todd is standing confident. Don't give two shits if he's on the table with Todd. And I personally think that's the wrong way to look. I've seen them practice together. I've been there with them. Todd's dangerous in places. He's just wound up, and I can't wait to be a part of this. Let's talk a little bit about this card and what you guys think, is I'm on it. So me, I'm always nervous, no matter if I'm the overdog, underdog, or whatever, just because of the physical shape I'm in. But man, I am super fired up to pull this guy, and I think the rest of this event's going to be just badass.
Who is the guy that you're pulling? I'm not super familiar with him.
Well, you can pronounce his last name a lot better than I can. No offense to Devin. I believe I pulled him once. I hit him with some side pressure, took his wrist, and beat him in the strap. I watched a little bit of him at Nationals. He lost to a guy that I don't have any problem with, and then came back through and won it after the other two had just a battle and wore themselves plumb silly. I don't know if he's super strong. I mean, I'm sure he's a big guy. He's ranked higher than I am, but so is a lot of other people that I feel are not supposed to be. But you know how that is. Fuck the rankings.
Who is it? What's his name?
Devin. John, tell me what his name is.
I gotta hold on.
Gaskabin or something like that. He trains with Eric Gerlach out of Kansas.
Okay.
Gerlach's a strong guy. They're posting top rollers. I'm perfectly happy with pulling anybody in with that style. Like I said, I mean, I'm definitely ready for the challenge. But go for it, John. Tell me the name.
Last name is Gagnabin.
Gatorman. Is that what it was?
Gatorman. Yeah, Gatorman.
They call me Gator at work because my arm won't straighten out. They call me Gator. I don't know. Gatorman. All right, Devin, Gatorman.
How many matches are on the card? I think there's about 9 matches on the card.
It continuously rises. Now, originally, love you, Michael Todd, but he likes his money. He doesn't like to give it away. But he even told me, Don, if you want to pull, but I got more money. I know better than that, Mike. I know what's in your safe. I love you. Quit lying to me. But they've added some matches to Pablo. They added this Devin guy and me. Added Eric Gerlach. This is all since the card was originally put out. So I'll tell you what, it's got a high class of arm wrestlers. There's a few medium class ones in there, mine included. You know that I'm not much puller anymore, but hey, we're going to put on a show, and that's what it's about. But this thing is going to be sick. There's some talent on it.
Yeah. Well, the Todd and Todd match is huge, isn't it? In respect to the drama that could unfold, and as you said, Don, the match itself might be phenomenal, and likely it gets stuck right down because both these guys. I mean, Michael has a defensive position that just doesn't say die, but Todd has relentless endurance in his side pressure as well. If Todd controls the pronator of Michael, we're in for a long day.
It's going to be an exhausting match. And I'll tell you, if you guys want to go back to when Michael was training for Devin, it was me, Corey West. Ryan, you had put a post out after it. I remember laughing a little bit when you were like, oh, there's Don Underwood. He's going to pull Michael. And then I caught him. And I've always been, sound with him. But I loved your reaction. Whoa, Don looked pretty strong there. Well, I'm strong from time to time. But back to that match, Michael was able to top roll Todd pretty significant. So both of them learned a lot. I think you're going to see a slip immediately. Todd is not going to hold on to Michael, and you're going to see a strap. And it could relatively be the most exhausting Cataract versus Todd match that you've ever seen. It's going to be a long day, So get ready for a ride, but it should be fun.
What do you guys?
Sorry.
What do you guys think about the possibility? Because every time Michael has another match, and I see him, be somewhat less effective with the King's move, I always have this dream that we see Michael come to the table and he goes back to, that super fast press or inside move. You think there's any chance that we see that type of speed and attacking from the monster in this match?
Exactly what he'll do on the weekend.
You're
Todd will study how Jerry Caderet beat Toddzilla at WAL, and that was 4 years ago or whatever it was. But that same surprise that we got when Monster Michael Todd pulled Robbie Topi at the first pay, we saw that quick press. That's exactly what I think is going to happen in the match.
Well, we did see it in their training pools, but I mean, it was at the end of training pools where Michael was just pulling the trigger on that one and was just banging through with that press, and it looked comfortable once he was just deciding that's where he was going. But when the engines are revved up and the fuel's running hot and everything, and I don't know, if like Michael's not one to hide that, so Todd will see it coming. If Michael's made the decision that he's pressing, it's very clear for everyone to see in the room, and Todd's going to see that. And will Todd run from it and try to top roll his way out of it, or will he just say, "Let's go, Michael. I'm gonna rev sideways hard. Can you actually get that press in?" I don't know. I feel like he's just going to rev hard sideways and challenge for center, which I don't know who wins if that's the case.
I think you're going to see Michael using every technique. A competent Michael Todd is the scariest arm wrestler in the world. I don't care who you are. I've known the guy my entire career. When he knows he can win, the guy's a different beast. And I called him last week, "Hey, man, what's going on?" And his response, no disrespect, I'm sure, from Michael to Todd, but he said, "Todd Hutchings, I don't give fucking two shits because I'll win this match hands down." And Todd, I want you to go in there and I want you to change his mind. That's going to bring the beast out of Michael Todd, and that'll make him a better puller that day. But he's confident. And like I said, a confident Michael Todd is a scary, scary man.
How do you think Michael would have gone against Levan prior to the Devon match?
It's interesting that you say that. Again, from the last visit we had, I think Mike's the only one with his technique, running back to the King's move and doing the things that he's strong at. Watching Devon stop him that first match, Devon's not near as strong in that position as Michael Todd is. And I think that if Michael, and I really believe he can, but it legitimately may be the end of Michael's career. This guy would be the one to bring that thing apart like Bortolato did to his left arm, and it's scary to think. But Michael Todd will take the challenge, go through the damage and the risk of injury to beat him and be number one. Whether he is or not in everybody's eyes, you're going to have opinions of the King's move. And, hey, listen, I appreciate it. Like I said, I know there's a lot more to it than I once did. Breaking it down, looking at the hand and riser and the consistent rising and using the strap. I mean, there's so much involved in that. And for anybody to say that Michael Todd's a cheater that sits down there is just wrong. There's just so much to it. And I think he just would be definitely in that match.
Yeah, so just quickly, Savage Arm Wrestling comes in and says, "I think it comes down to that shoulder press for Monster Michael Todd." And according to Don Underwood, the Monster has a shot against Levan with that. It might be his last match, but he's definitely got
I'd love to see it. Who would not want to see that match? That'd be amazing.
So then what happens? What happens now? If we get to next week, and Ryan, I'll get your thoughts first. If we get to next week and Toddzilla wins, will that?
Well, I think Toddzilla does win. That's where I'm not betting, but that's where I'm leaning. I do see it as a close match, but I think Todd Hutchins is going to grab the win. I think that Michael's riser and pronator has, I don't know where it's gone. It's not where it was when he was banging up against the Plenkov and Pushkar. That's all I know, is that it's not at that level. If it was at that level, I would not hesitate to bet on Michael Todd. But the Michael Todd that I saw against Gennady, the Michael Todd I saw against Rivas, I think Todd Hutchins can control that pronator. And if he does, if Todd Hutchins wins that, it's, what happens? It's Chafee 1, Todd Hutchins 2 in the USA. And I know Todd wants that number one rank. I know he does. I don't know how he gets past Chafee, but I know he's hungry for it. Michael's had a tough run. I mean,
So
I
what's
don't know.
that do to
People are
his
starting
brand?
people
What
are
is-
starting to rank Corey above Michael in some conversations. So it's. I feel for Michael. I'm good buddies with Michael. I want to see him do well, but I can't get past what my brain is seeing and saying. I think Michael's struggling, and I don't know how he gets it back.
Well, let's go back. Let's go back to what Michael has done. Now you got to remember, and he said it himself. He's trying something different. He wants to be a different puller, and I think the general population has got Michael rocked by everybody saying, "I can't stand that he cheats and he sits down and he doesn't pull." And Michael Todd don't want to be known as a cheat. He wants to be known as the best arm wrestler in the world. And I'm gonna tell you, he's just trying new things. And I've told him, Mike, don't listen to the public, don't listen to other people. Do what you're great at. Get in there and be Michael Todd, and I think he's back to that. And he did. He took a run at it. He seen that it wasn't working, and he's back to his roots, back to the old Michael Todd. So, and it's interesting that you say that Dave's number one, but ask Dave. Dave don't want to pull Michael, and I don't think Dave can get around Mike. So even if Todd is number two, it'll go back to Dave losing to Mike. It's just going to be that running battle.
So then, you know, Monster Michael's like the poor guy. He cops it a lot on the internet. Second to you, Ryan. He cops it flat out. But then where do we go? Like I will always find Monster Michael Todd interesting to pull. If he's ever in a match, I'm always going to watch it. But where does he go from here if he's technically on a 3-4 match losing streak? Where does he go?
I think that puts Michael in a very, very difficult position if he loses this match, because then he is kind of pushed out of having certain matches with guys where people just aren't going to be as interested, because it's like, well, come on, Michael, you know, that's whatever, 5 in a row, you know, and what is Michael weighing right now? Like 280-ish, something like that.
He's
lean now, 255 or something. He's
okay.
some weight.
So him and Toddzilla are actually not probably that far off from each other. I'm guessing, because what's Toddzilla? Probably 240.
He wishes he was 255. He's going to be close.
So that's a little better, but it's really about the public perception, right? That's kind of, you know, what will drive things, in my opinion. So for me, this is a must-win match for Michael, or else it's going to get much more difficult.
It is 100%. You know, and that's what makes it even more interesting for him to bet against the guy that has everything to lose, and he does. Got his subscribers, got the believers. There's so much. This is his job and his only thing that he does. So I think it means more to him than it does. And I'm gonna tell you something. When it means more to Mike, he cannot lose. I've seen him do things that's just unbelievable. I think we're going to see it again. We're going to see a desperate guy that has to win, and that's going to bring out the best of Michael.
No, before we get into the well, that's what we're going to do. We'll go around the room. Just one word. I'll start with you, Matt Connelly. Who's winning this match? Don't say Todd. I want a whole name.
I think Todd Hutchings.
John.
Toddzilla.
Ryan.
Todd Hutchings.
Don.
Well, I'm going to go with my boys, my Bam brothers. Get some Todd Hutchings, because you ain't going to win at the Monster Factory. Michael Todd taking it home.
Well, according to our poll, 63 people have voted, and 59% think that Toddzilla will take the chocolates in that one. So I will end the poll there.
In my mind, it's not a done deal. I would not feel comfortable betting anything on this match. Just the same, and it's the same thing with Brzezinski and Corey, to tell you the truth. Like, I think both of these matches are close and could give us big fireworks. It's just I happen to be leaning one way more than the other.
Well, let's get into that then. Let's talk about Corey. He came out of a match and thought he had a little tweak, wanted to make sure he had something for John. We're going to find out. I mean, I personally think the guy is going to give John all he wants. John's a crafty old dog, though. It should be interesting. I think, again, really good match there.
John wins 3-0.
Yeah. Well, I'm going maybe 3-1 for John on this one. I think the power that Corey possesses, the power round one, we saw it against Todd, we saw it against Kadecha, even though it was a foul out. He's scary round one. But as Don said, I mean, John's as crafty as they come. John has, I mean, he's the GOAT because of his hand. And if anything's going to neutralize Corey, it's going to be a really amazing hand. And I think that he'll find the groove and ultimately outlast that hand and get the job done. It will look like classic John in the end. But I think Corey's very dangerous for sure.
You know, I got
it looked like in the match that he just had last weekend, he was almost a victim of circumstance in that first round was almost an entire super match. You know, I think it was like 12 minutes or something for that first round, and he was done after that. They had 3 or 4 starts, and it's like he was pouring with sweat afterwards. It's like, man, he could have used that energy for the match. It's like, and it didn't even, it was like restart. Yeah. Like, God damn it.
It's interesting you say that. I think it's going to totally different format. The problem with John, and this is where I see it, John's going to hit back like he does, trying to get position on a hand and wrist that is just a different hand and wrist. So I think you're going to find round one. I do believe Corey wins. John's going to make some adjustments. He's going to make a match out of this. It's just very difficult. Like I said, I'm super strong and try to slow. This guy's just a different level. John's there close, but I mean, if Corey gets his lane, John's going to have to really dig into that bag deep and find some formula to beat this kid because he's just, like I said, just different strength.
If Corey wins, is this just a massive win, or does he then go up the rankings even more? Will this be a more impressive win than his win against Krasmir?
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
this is. I think Krasmir and John would be more like realistic match, and Krasmir said he'd never felt anything like Corey West, and I'm telling you something, he's right. I mean, I've felt just about every arm you could feel in the world, and there's been some impressive ones, but I lock into my strongest point. This guy just butters me. It's I hate to say it, but he's just special.
Don, do you think John will go into the hook with Corey?
Well, again, I think John's going to find out early that he's going to have to find a different place to go. And like the John has so many tools. I don't think a hook is the place to go with him, especially if Corey gets the start, which he's fast for a big guy. And slowing that big gorilla down is hard to do. I think John's going to try, and I think he's going to run back, and I think he's going to get caught, in my opinion. John's going to have to use that incredible hand and wrist, do some light gripping and just some different angles because he's going to have to get Corey out of his lane. When you do, Corey gets very confused. So if you can block that hook hit with a drive, I mean, there's a lot of things I've learned pulling the guy. He's got some weakness in some spots, and John's going to be the one to expose that. So I think John will end up getting him, but I think Corey's going to get a couple of these early, and then John will figure it out, and it'll make something in it.
I'd love to see John win and Todd Hutchings win, and then that would be the next match.
Well, that has to be the king of the table 5 main event is John and Toddzilla, regardless of if they win or lose.
Stateside, right? Bring it over here.
Don, you probably know better than anyone. I just got a question here from Owen. He's asked, what time does the event start? What time do things kick off?
5 o'clock. So that's Central Time, 5 p.m. Central. We got a call at 3. That's our calling. Stage calls at 3. We'll probably be there at 1:30 getting everything prepped and ready. 5 p.m. Central is what it's supposed to be, and I will verify that and send that out this week to Uncle John and the rest of the guys and make sure everyone.
Yeah.
Beauty.
Yeah.
Boys, I got to go get ready for a day full of commentating and watching some arm wrestling, but have a great rest of the show. And I'll say this about John and Corey. I'm not silly enough to bet against John Brzenk. I don't care who he's against, but Corey West is definitely my boy. And I will be in the gorilla corner for this match, but I ain't betting a dime.
Best of luck with the call today, man. Good luck.
Have fun,
Thanks,
mate.
boys.
I'll speak to you soon.
All right, bye-bye.
Good job.
And he just jumps in there. Yeah, so, look, I don't think it will take a mammoth task for me to bet against John Brzenk. It doesn't matter who you put him up against. I just can't go against him. His comeback and the form that he's in at the moment, very, very, very hard to go against John Brzenk in that one.
How do you
wife.
think Prime John would have gone against Levine?
Oh, gee.
Oh, yeah.
There's that quick.
I did a video on that.
Did you?
Well, there's quite a few other matches that may interest some folks in there. You got some talent on this card again. Paul Talbot's coming in and pulling Pablo. Interesting there. Talbot's probably the best lefty under 200. Pablo's getting up to that level at 250, 242, if you will. You got Bill Logston going against one of the greats and Bob Brown. Bob Brown's coming in at 220. Ryan, you know how crafty Bob Brown is. And
Hey,
what
220 pound Bob Brown.
and that, to me, it's scary in itself.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow. He was like buddy 176 last time I hung out with him.
Been hanging out with Devin at the pancake.
Oh man, that's a scary man. Wow.
So Logston kind of, his hand is tremendous. He's very strong. He's been very busy at work, so his training has been minimal, but he's healthy and he's ready to go. So last time they pulled Bill, handled him relatively easy. I just don't think it's going to be as simple this time. So interesting matchup there.
Well, I think the match that'll steal the show is Craig Tullier and Roger Cunningham. I think that'll steal the show. That'll be fireworks. That's the one that, like you've got your names in your semi-main event and your main event, but I reckon at the end of the day, the match you'll be talking about the most will be that one.
I think you're right. I think you go back to what Ryan said earlier. You need the clowns at the circus, and those are the ones you're going to see. I'm going to tell you, Tullier is sensitive. I love him, but you could stand in front of him and tell him he wants a taco and he wanted a burrito at Taco Bell, and he's going to bitch slap you. That's that guy. So when you got a guy across the table like Roger is going to be jawing, he's going to be talking, and he don't give a fuck either. And I love that about him. He's a violent individual on the table. And those two are going to create some fireworks. Hence the 4th of July a little bit late. But, guys, I think that's the match of the day. I agree with you.
Yeah, that's right. And Roger Cunningham has brought a snake to a table and put it on his opponent. So a real snake.
Oh,
So,
I thought you was making this triple X all of a sudden. So I was like, wait a minute. I'm not going if that's the case. I don't want that.
He shared a story with me where they were at an event and there was like someone had a snake. One of his mates had a snake. So he hid it in his hat. And then when he got to the table, he put a real snake on you. So I'd be there.
You ever see a fat guy scream like a girl? Like a really high shriek. Look like the lady and Tom and Jerry jumping on the chair. Yeah, that'd be me.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Now we were talking about weight, Ryan. You're like, oh my god, Bob Brown's put on 40 pounds. Yeah. Are we getting into a stage where we're getting too big, too unhealthy in our sport?
I don't know. I mean, everyone loves to watch the big guys fight. Everyone wants to see the monsters. It's hard for the lightweight guys to get the center stage, but because of that allurement of the big guys, and look, we're a lot of people, whether it's the tested leagues, untested leagues, all that. We're never gonna hear the end of that. Look at where the sport's at. I think that the big guys, they're our main weapon for growing the sport. We're going to keep on embracing them. And look, if a lighter guy or someone else can bring the personality and can bring the story, they will get behind the man for sure. There's no doubting that we will get behind the man. But for the moment, look, the big guys have the advantage. And are they getting too big? Because it is a bit of a case with Levon anyway, at least, that we just know no one can do anything about it. And look, I don't know. it is fun watching the big dude slug it out and just imagine what it's like to be a demigod. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's bad.
No, it's all right. That's why I just thought because Corey's what did Corey end up weighing? 200 kilos or something like that. Like he's a big boy, So yeah, I just always wonder because that's just the way it's going to be. Like Matt, you're up and coming now over there in Adelaide, and you got to start pulling. And if you're not winning, well, you got to get stronger. And a lot of the times, people need to put on weight and get bigger to be able to get the wins in those things.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, weight is a significant factor. It's not everything, as we all know. Technique, strategy, timing, explosiveness. Those things, those elements have to be all combined. Then weight is something that you could add on top of that. But yeah, like Ryan said, I mean, if somebody is a smaller weight, but they're really charismatic, they're good at talking, they're good at promoting themselves, and they're putting on fun, exciting matches that people want to see, they're going to rise to the top anyway, regardless of their size. It's just traditionally you'll see in combat sports that the bigger the guys are, they do attract the most interest. And it's the same across every sport in that world. If you put the flyweights on and UFC, if you put them as main event, you'll sell no pay-per-views. No one wants to see the small guys fight. It's just reality. The funny thing is when you're watching a flyweight fight, you sort of forget that these guys are about 5'4", and then when the referee walks past in the ground, he looks like Godzilla going past. That always makes me laugh.
Don, what's the lightest category you've pulled in, Don?
I'm 198 pounds. I was in Gloucester. I went with Michael Todd. That was 1992, and made the 98s, and man, it hurt. But yeah, I like cruising. I mean, unfortunately, I'm in pretty good shape for a 300-pounder. I'm not going to get too light. 275, 280 is about the leanest I can get. I wish I could come down. These old knees need a break, you know what I mean? But, shit, are we going to do this?
Here we go.
It's the Hollywood ab off.
Are you He's calling me out, boys. All right.
Oh, here we go.
It's coming.
Oh, Joe, there it is. Yeah. 300 pounds in Hollywood. There.
Old man abs. I don't know, folks. Put in the chat who you think the winner. Let's get a poll. Hollywood versus Hollywood. Who's it going to be? Now, I got to say, I think Mike's got a good formula going on. I think the free, he's selling commercial space, got a bunch of sponsors on a bunch of platforms. I've always said that if you can get this like this, it's going to be successful. He's got the people, he's got the David versus Goliath matches that are actually going to be interesting. If it ain't one-sided, I think the formula's there. This is going to be one to watch. So everybody put your eyes on this. Again, it's a free event. Get on the chats, have fun with it, do some polls, make some stuff up. But I know I'm coming, and I plan on putting on a hell of a show. You're going to see a lot of old Hollywood. I'm just going to have fun and ain't going to worry about the rest. So going to be a wonderful day there. Hot Springs, Arkansas, the Monster Factory.
So then, with you just mentioned that we've gone into a trajectory of pay-per-views, and now the Monster Factory is free. How do we think this will work? Like,
very clever.
Do we think it's
good
better
move.
if all these main events are free? How do we think that's going to go?
I think there's going to be more people watching.
Yeah, absolutely. Make it easy, make it free, make it available, put it everywhere, and make it really easy to find and really easy to watch. Yeah. Make the production good.
Let's put it like that. You can go out and say, listen, I'm going to give you something special, and I'm going to give it to you for free. And then you get all these major platforms that's got multi-million people on them that are collaborating together, and you go to people and you go, now, guys, I'm selling commercial space, and this is the views you're going to get. It's not real difficult to figure out. The guy's got a hell of a formula put together. He's got sponsors in place. And truthfully, guys, I mean, I believe this is the future. This is the way to go. So once we find out just how the revenue stream is on this, I think once it leaks out, everybody's going to try to do the same thing. And I think it's necessary for success.
Yeah, it's money talks more than anything else, doesn't it? And the thing is, for free to work, we need to we need to be able to sustain the sponsorships. to sustain the sponsorships, we need to give them genuine advertising value that's equitable to what they could have bought somewhere else.
Yep.
That's all that matters. They will come back for more if we give them that in a value sense. They will
And
say,
I think it's there. It's
Yeah.
there.
So
You say free,
that's
you say free, but it's not free to the advertisers. And that's the
oh
thing.
yeah.
They're paying for you to watch something special. And like I say, I mean, when it comes down to it, you're saying the same thing. When the advertiser get what they want, I think we're seeing the beginning of what's going to be really.
Well, it's on
Yeah,
about
that's
6 different
the
channels, I believe. I think they've got it on. I think so. So I'll be watching on Monster Michael Todd's YouTube, but then there's his Facebook, and then I think BlackRock. I think a few of the sponsors.
Yeah, BlackRock's one.
streaming it. Black Rifle Coffee's one.
Nine Line, you got
Red
several
Tom.
other platforms that are running it on theirs as well, and that's what's special. They've co-collaborated with a couple other major platforms that's going to be on multiple stages. So I don't know all of them, but I'm certain that it'll be out soon.
Well, it's interesting. I never got to see the business model or speak to anyone who knew the numbers, but like the Eddie and Thor fight was free. That was on. I forget what it was on. Whatever the
YouTube,
platform on, but it was free. I remember it was the that was surprising.
On the website. Yeah, that's right. I can't remember it now.
But you see that model, it does come along, and like as we've said, it'll work if the advertising value is there. I always go straight back to the basics of it. So if you're Coke, if you're Subway, if you're friggin' Pizza Hut, whatever, it costs you roughly $10 per 1,000 views to get your ad shown. If you're buying it from Google directly, if you're like Coke could go and spend $10 and get their ad as the pre-roll ad to this live. They could do that. So you've got to give them more than what they would get by doing that. So that's the challenge. We know what the industry standards are in terms of what it's worth and what it costs an advertiser. And of course, the advertisers are always looking to get better value than just going straight through YouTube or Google. So if we can give that to them, they'll be happy. They'll stick around. The sport will grow. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I like it. I think it can be a game changer. I'm not sure. Like, I like that, Redcon and Nine Line are putting it on their channel because then they can bring fresh eyes to the sport. But I do like when everything is on the one channel because I know a lot of the times people just love talking about it. So when everyone's hanging out in the one room, you don't want to party at 6 different houses. You want to party at the one house. But what they are doing, I'm trying to remember what Michael said. I want to get everyone's opinion. So during the live stream, only members can comment in the chat.
Yeah.
Members is it like
members of the channel. So if you're a member,
okay.
you can comment during
the thing. You have to pay to be a member.
Now they also get an exclusive after party viewing, which is not for the general public. So you're going to see other people like myself pulling Todd and other interesting things that you'd like to see, practice or not. It's still interesting to see. Is there something to be seen in the future? And that's where it begins, as at the practice day. So yeah, join, subscribe, not only to them but to all these gentlemen on here and promote the shit out of it.
That's an interesting one. I feel like that's a roll of the dice.
You may as well try it.
Everything's trial and error in marketing at the end of the day, and that's what this one looks like to me. I don't know how many people will be chatting.
The trolling in the comments, and because even with slow-mo mode, you know what it's like, Ron, when you've got thousands of people watching your channel and the comment section just flies. It just stops the one person saying the same thing 1,000 times, and then it'll stop all the trolling because a lot of the people that are supporting the event and board a membership to Michael's channel are only going to say relatively positive things.
Yeah,
I don't like it.
Yeah.
No, I don't like it. I think make it free, make it available.
He said it
Sorry,
like
Don, you
this.
go.
He had a lot of revenue up front, so he's already paid out his ass. So what he normally does is have to hope for the best that he doesn't have to come out of pocket. Well, apparently all the funding's there. He's been adding matches, so that tells me that things are in a positive place. When Michael starts digging in his pocket again, shows me he's not too worried. So I'm gonna guess early this thing's looking real good.
Yeah, I can't wait for it. It's this weekend.
The reason I don't like it in terms of the marketing side of it is, like you said, the sport is at that point where it feels like everything's just at that launching point, and it's really starting to take off. People are starting to get more notoriety around arm wrestling. If you make it free, you make it available, you make it easy to see, easy to chat, easy to talk to people about it as much as possible. It's a lot easier to grow it. As soon as you start asking for money, I think that's where people just get turned off very quickly. I like the pay-per-view model that the combat sports are bringing out, where they'll give you, say, the preliminary fights for free. Say it's a 10-fight card, and you get 6 fights for free, and then you pay for the 4 for the main event. So you can watch 6 fights worth, and if you really want to see it, then you can pay at that point. But in terms of making it difficult for people, I think if you're watching it and you're like, hey, I want to send a message, and it's like, oh, you got to pay to be a member of the channel to send a message. You're like, I think it would be a little bit of a turn off for some people. I can understand what they're doing it, and I can understand that it's a benefit for the people who are paying and that are getting a little bit extra. They're getting an after party thing. They're getting the ability to chat. You are reducing, hopefully, the trolling in there. But I just think in terms of what would be more valuable for the sport, making it in front of as many people as possible would be the best idea.
Yeah. Oh, look, it'll be good. I'll be keen. I'll keep my eye on the channel. But I do like that they're trying. They're trying something, and that's what this sport needs. People to go out there and try something, because there's been a number of times we keep doing the same thing over and over, and it's not spreading. So this will spread out. It'll be very, very interesting to go. How many sets of eyes do we think, because it's free, we can get 20, 30, 40,000 people watching this event on the weekend?
I guess it all depends on how the other channels and the other platforms has presented this. If you look at history, Wide World of Sports was the #1 show in the world for like 15 straight years. So over football and baseball and basketball, when arm wrestling would come on CBS Wide World of Sports 69 to like 82 or 83, #1. Then you look at our time slot for Game of Arms, #1. So the potential's there. I think the word of mouth is going to have to, and the advertisers are going to have to put this out so the general population knows and people are paying attention. So if they're putting out the commercial like it should be early, I think you're 100% there. I think it could be beyond those numbers with the potential with the platforms that are involved.
Yeah, I think it's going to be insane. I really hope, as Lara Bassett says, he says, yes, look how many views Ryan had at the King of the Table match last weekend. It's growing. And I think 70% of the people watching Ryan bought the pay-per-view. Was that the...
No, it was at the time I asked it, I think it was 43% had bought it at the time. We pushed it a little bit higher from there, but there was like 20% of people in the chat were utterly brand new to the sport as well. And they were... clarify it. What I meant by that was they are literally watching their first ever arm wrestling event.
Yeah.
So the sport is definitely growing. And people are definitely supporting pay-per-view. The free model will work and all that sort of stuff. It's cool. Like I said, all these things are reasons the sport will grow. It's finding the one that sticks better. Like the challenge is always, I keep on seeing it. The challenge for the sport is production. I think our match, like we've got the best arm wrestlers in the world continuously facing each other. We can't give the fans of the sport anything better when it comes to the actual names on the cards. These are the best arm wrestlers in the world. We have to get better at production. That is.
Did anybody? Couple questions for you, Ryan. One, did you get the numbers from anybody? Did you have a general overall who experienced last weekend's event? And then I'll ask you the second part of this question.
I don't know. I don't know what the Core Sports pay-per-view numbers were. I know that I believe they set records, though. I think all indications were they were on track to set records, and I think they did. Certainly, when I compare my live stream to other live streams I've done for other King of the Tables and things like that, I had 18,000 peak concurrents and a total of 400,000 views on the video itself. So that was for me. That was that was almost 4 times my previous best for a King of the Table event. Yeah. So that was kind of numbers are up, but I don't know what the actual numbers were for Core Sports. No.
Now, second part of this question, you were talking about promotions and presentation. You know, outside of Neil Pickup and the old UAL, do you see anybody with potentially like Armed Sport Entertainment or Monster Mike Todd? What do you think the future holds for the promotions, and what are they doing that's great compared to everything else? Is it non-generic or more professional?
Well, look, I think that if I'm purely honest, I don't think any one promoter is there yet. I don't think that. I think everyone has a big room to go. Like King of the Table, for instance, biggest match in the world. They underpopulated their card relative to how many people watched. They could have told the story of so many more people. I didn't see any pre-build-up content from them. There was no analysis content from them like that. So even though they did so much right in terms of staging, lighting, the match was there, we got the big names, they missed out a lot. Michael's content, for instance, he's got great names again. He's got much better analysis because he's got people there live commentating like yourself, Don, who will pick up all that, and they will do well. But they're missing the big cameras and lights and the stage, that WAL style feel and that. So we've got a whole bunch of people they're getting parts right. I don't think anyone's yet got it all right for sure, and everyone's going to try to kind of fill in the gaps that are missing. If I had to pick someone who's going to do it, I mean, there's Arm Wars has got a completely different set of professional angle, and they drop the ball in other areas again. Look, I don't know. I personally think that production, in terms of storytelling, a complete value storytelling from start to beginning, build up, post-match analysis, all of it. I think whoever gets that right will win. Yeah.
Well, I see Matt over here doing the pointing up to Ryan Bowen. Let's Matt. What is your opinion? What is your opinion, and why are you pointing first of all to Ryan Bowen?
I agree. I completely agree that there's so many different elements that haven't come together in the productions that have come out, and some of them have done a fantastic job, as I said, as Ryan said. With the one just previously, we just saw the King of the Table. You know, they did a fantastic job in terms of improving from their previous events. They had a great interested crowd that was directly behind the camera, whereas previously they had just random people that, you know, were playing on their phones. It looked like there was people wandering through trying to find the gaming room. Well, they did a good job with that. The on-screen graphics looks good. They had some overhead shots, which were in between the matches, which I think they really could have gone close-up shots with Neil and Ray to have, you know, if you've got your two presenters there, your two commentators, and they're sort of your trusted voices as you're going through the match, you need to show them on camera in between matches. I mean, these are the two guys that you're trusting to present the show. Rather than changing to an overhead camera, a bird's eye view of nothing, go to your two guys, like have a post-fight analysis, have a panel, have a breakdown, have some people explaining the techniques, have an interview with Devin, have an interview with Levan, there's all these different elements that aren't coming together in these big productions. They're doing things right. Some elements are getting right, but I think in terms of what they could outlay and what, the future that hopefully we'll be looking at doing in terms of building an event or building something is pushing the narrative, building the story, telling the tale as to what we want to see and getting people excited to see a match, putting on a fantastic match, and then having that come down that post-fight analysis as well.
Yeah, I mean, everyone in the chat as well, jump in. What's the one thing of a production value that you think arm wrestling is is missing or could take the next King of the Table, East versus West, to the next level? Because everyone's like production value, King of the Table is really good. Post-match interviews, East versus West and Monster Michael Todd were doing really well. Like, do we need more Don Underwood? Does the TV need more Don Underwood? But that's what I mean. Is it more characters? So,
I personally think, yes, Don Underwood would be great. Anybody with the knowledge, but you know what? Anybody could talk through an event. You got to remember that, you got to liven it up. You got to talk a little bit about, different things. And Jake, you can kind of understand this, being a former pro wrestler yourself. The promos are the important part to keep the crowd, invested, and changing your pitches, your highs, your lows, bringing up the high points, explaining them thoroughly, and then just keeping the match exciting. Going into the Tony Schiavone's, if you know who I'm talking about, screaming and yelling and getting excited is what we're missing. And I think that hopefully I can fill a little bit of that gap. I'd love to have somebody with a totally different perspective, somebody that's not so alive, that can get excited. I've worked with Jody Williams. I've worked with Coach Ray. Bob Brown was a good commentator, fill in. He's a very smart guy. There's so many options. Ryan, you're phenomenal. I think that the knowledge of the sport.
You need an anchor. You need an anchor. Yeah. You need someone to, I can get up and about. I remember calling an arm fights with Ryan. And
Jake, you're phenomenal. You're great. You're absolutely great as well, Jake. Not to leave you out of the conversation. Love this. And we're going to get to sit side by side and do this in December at Arm Sports Entertainment, which is doing a phenomenal job. We got some work to do on the setup, seeing me eat in the middle of it. But I just didn't know how this thing would look on camera. And once you see it as a performer or as a commentator, you want to make it better. And I think the more I do and the more I have input, you're going to see a better overall presentation. But I can't wait to work with all of it. It's going to be good stuff.
Well,
for me, the most important thing.
Hollywood by nature.
For me, the most important thing is
jumped in.
Sorry,
I'll just read this comment. Sorry, Ryan, and it says, "Don't think anything is missing per se, but all have elements that can be improved upon: stream quality, appropriate slow-mo, use of commentary, character development, story, etc." I think we agree with you there, Oxford. That is for sure.
Absolutely, across the board, it can always be improved. For me, I think what we need to appreciate as arm wrestling promoters is we have to try to watch back our own stuff through the eyes of someone who's never seen it before, and be honest, be genuinely honest about it. Because if you've never seen arm wrestling before and you stumble across and you happen to be intrigued enough to click onto a live stream, how long are they staying for? That's the question. And it's, if we're honest with it, look, it's hard to keep a brand new guy that's had no introduction to the sport at all. Someone totally brand new, they're not going to stick around. Even if it's John Brzenk pulling Corey West, they're going to go, who are these? A gray-haired guy just beat a massive dude. Oh, I guess that's cool. That's it. And they're off. So, look, I think it's going to take really good, consistent promotion. It's going to take, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 events. Once we've done 10 events where we've earned the trust of the sports fan, if they know that when you watch an arm wrestling event from start to beginning, this is the experience you go through. They remember the emotional roller coaster of the whole journey, and they can rely on the fact that they're going to enjoy it because they trust it, and it's got all the components of a sports production as well as a great match. Then we're there. So we need to pick up the game across the board. Unfortunately for the sport, I don't think that even if one production freaking nailed it, they still wouldn't actually get the viewership until they've nailed it 10 times in a row or something. Then the viewership will come. So we got to work on our craft as we all are. We got to keep getting right and getting better at it. But consistency, man, that's so important.
Well, let me tell you. Go ahead. Let me just intervene real quick. I think what we're missing here is that you've got a live crowd in your major sporting events, that just long to see those events live and in living color. I think the future of success, like you said, is keeping the first-time watchers entertained is an edited event. You have to take something and commentate behind an edited event per scene and present it that way. You know, I think we're just going the wrong way. As good as it is, I think it could be a whole lot better to film it, edit it, commentate the version of the edit, and then present that to the general population. And you take out the bullshit fouls, referees being involved, and you go to the action, you can make it work and actually sell that to somebody as an entertainment. And that's what we're missing. That's just my opinion. I've been around a long time, but that's what I'd love to see, and I'd watch a whole bunch of it. But I'm not going to visit an arm wrestling tournament and watch for more than 10 or 15 minutes. Well, fuck this. I'm headed down. Yeah.
But is that the same? So do you think, Don, then come this weekend, should we, like, for the future of the sport, should we not be putting the Monster Factory on live and then and just film and have all the good bits and then send all the good bits of each matches out?
I just think you have a better option to bring people in and keep them interested. Nobody wants the downtime. You're not going to watch it. You know how much downtime it is? Or the setup's 3 minutes and then you slip and then the strap is 3 minutes. You're talking about stuff that people's not going to watch. They're like, fuck it, come on. I can watch paint dry faster than this. You know, and that's what it comes down to is presentation. And yes, this sport is awesome, but not in a tournament format or not in a place that you don't know what's going on. You and I do the same thing. All of us sit there and go, are you fucking kidding me? Let's go. We want to see the money shot, right? What we want to see. Get on down to it, and the edit is the only way to do that. But again, it's going to take somebody to do it right one time, and then from there it's going to be the way it's going to be.
Completely agree. Yeah, it's the same with the WWE, with the wrestling.
I was just quickly going to say I've changed my tip. I'm going to go for Craig Tullier because Roger Cunningham in the chat right now saying Don Underwood is surrounded by a gang of delinquents. Pray for him. That's it, Roger.
What he saying?
The second strongest redhead in arm wrestling.
Sorry, mate, you go.
Oh, I was just going to say, with in terms of when you watch the WWE, I mean, you know, if you're there and live in the crowd, obviously it's going to be a different experience. But when they've edited it and they've uploaded it for TV viewing, you know, the commentators make such an impact as to explaining what's happening, telling you this backstory. So that when you're watching the two guys in the ring, you're getting an understanding as to what it means, like why this is important, why this is significant, why the crowd's reacting. And those voices are so important, and it's so important to get that correct. It is much easier to film an event and, like Don said, go back, get rid of all the crap, and only present the really pristine, awesome moments, and then have somebody talking over the top of that. That's a lot easier product to sell than even like one of our local super matches where, you know, it might be first to three and it goes for half an hour. You know, but when I present it, it's a minute 15 because I'm not putting anything in there that's not interesting.
Well, you can also do a lot more. You can add more matches. You can have a card of 50 matches, you know, if they're done right. You know, you could bring it down. And, you know, those commentators, they already know the ending in WWE, and that's the difference. You know, it's going to take somebody like Ryan or Jake or myself that knows these athletes and that get the shock factor or the wow factor when they see it happen, especially if the underdog wins. That's a reaction that's it's priceless, you know, and that's what makes this sport so great. We can have the live or however we're filming it. You don't have to edit that part of it to get the reaction. But yeah, I think eventually it's going to have to be an edited kind of talk over version in order for the general public to stay in.
Yeah. I think it's huge important. Like, I don't know how many times people were trying to kick me in the nuts, you know, about, you guys overhyped that you owe a lot of people money because you made them bet on Devon, you know, and things like that. But I don't know. So many more people were interested in the sport and they were hanging for it. I remember during the week, I could be saying the same thing every single day, but I'd have about 500 people on the show because they wanted to talk about it. People want to talk. about these massive matches, and there's going to be some massive ones on the weekend, which I'm keen for. But yeah, we need something. We need something.
We didn't get your prediction, by the way, Jake. Yeah, your Michael Todd or Todd Hutchings prediction.
Oh, Todd will win. Marcus Thompson comes in and he says, commentator is critical to the build-up, the emotions, the drama can make shit even sound good.
Okay. Let me put something out here for this amazing crew, including Uncle John. What would you like to see after the show? Did you want to do something immediately? We can schedule something. Did you want to do something Sunday morning following this event? I'll still be in Hot Springs. So why don't you guys get with me this week and let's find out, or ask your fans how they want us to present the results of the Monster Factory pay-per-view, and we'll get it done, even if it means me staying up past 8 o'clock, which is really hard for an old fella to do, but for the fans, we'll do it. So guys, get with them this week, ask them in your polls how you want to present it, and then let's see each other again right after this event, and just expose everything.
It'll be awesome. We'll go around the room. Who's going to win out of John and Corey? Start with you, Ryan.
That's John 3-1. John 3-1.
I'm going to go with John. I'm going to go with John 3-2. 3-2 John Brazing.
Yeah. 3-2 John Brazing.
You're all crazy. 3-0. 3-0 John. 3-0 John Brazing. I like it. One other match, which is technically the main card, but because it's not a pay-per-view, they're all the main card. But Paul Lynn versus BJ Fakakis is the one of the main matches on the card. Now, Don, you pulled
$50 super chat
at the first one. How do you think it'll go? You've seen these two. You recently pulled BJ.
Yeah, this is interesting because Paul is a different level of strong. BJ's a fast top roller. It's definitely going to go to the strap no matter what. It's going to be lanes, and if Paul gets his, it's his win. If BJ can sweep, which I don't know that he's going to be able to, but I think Paul Lynn takes this. I really do.
That's a big one, isn't it? It's a tough one. BJ's a strong dude. He's a strong dude, and I think he's clearly the bigger man. I think he's a little bit taller than Paul as well. And with Paul is someone. I mean, he's got a great hook. He's got a great top game as well. As Don said, it's going to come down to who can dictate lanes. Can Paul win it from a flat-handed position if he stops BJ out here? I feel like that might be where the match actually does come to a stop, and then what happens from there? Does BJ get his wrist flexion back and finish it, or does Paul start chipping through his side? I don't know. Or maybe I could be wrong, and it just goes to hook, and he belts him like he did Ron Barth in those later rounds. But tough one to call. I think Paul's the big moment guy in the scene, so I'm going to give the edge to him as well.
I think Paul Lynn, and so good to see him win over in Europe with that previous match, really stepping on into the international stage and coming away with the victory. I think this is hopefully continuing that rise, that trajectory on the up for him. But I got distracted because we had some big super chats that popped in.
I'll get to those in a minute. You don't have to worry about that, Matty. I'm all over it. I think it'll be a Linsane match, and it'll take an incredible effort for Lindiana Jones, Paul Lynn, to win it all, and that's what's going to happen there. Ryan Dragon, thank you very much for your huge super chat. He says, the CDL, the Call of Duty League Gaming, does a great job on their weekly live feeds. I always felt that they were the next step we could take as far as production, especially their major championships event. Worth checking out. Well, Ryan, I am going to write that down, CDL, because I'm going to watch one of their live streams and see what they're all about. Thank you very much for that, Ryan Dragon. Thank you for your continued support. You are a YouTube banger, a member of mine, and you're always constantly popping in to all the chats. And then, of course, the man who has become famous, he says, "I'll match yours, Ryan, and go one better." It's our friend Marcus Thompson. Thank you very much. You're both Ryan and Marcus, dead set legends, doing everything they can to keep the arm wrestling dream alive. And he says, "Happy Sunday, boys. remember, everything you boys do helps to improve the sport. And I think that's where sometimes people, thank you very much, Ryan and Marcus, for your generous donations. But it's also very, I think people can sometimes forget.
I can't let it go any further. Ryan, how could you let Marcus out super chat you? I mean, he's got 2 fingers in the air. I mean, what's wrong with it? Show him he's not the man. Show him he's not the man, Ryan.
Don Underwood just called out Ryan Dragon.
Yeah,
that's
CDL.
I wouldn't put up with that on any given Sunday. Don't take that shit.
Marcus Thompson, very difficult man to take on in the super chat world.
No chance. He's the undisputed Money Slam champion, Marcus Thompson is. But yeah, I think I've said it from the early days. I think a lot of fans of the sport are really struggling with the growth of it, and that's why we're getting more and more hate pop into the chat. I think they're not on our live streams. Our live streams have been amazing, but yeah, when I go on Facebook groups and things like that, I think they're really struggling with the growth of the sport. Do you ever think that would weed out? So if we're turning up and suddenly we're all off to a 20,000 seat stadium, do you think this? I know it happens in all sport, but the constant hate and the constant bickering, do you think it'll level out? Do you think we haven't seen the worst of it? Like, where do we think we are on those ones?
We haven't even started. You see when it gets massive and you get rivalries between fan groups that just absolutely are diehards for their guy and they're going against somebody that they despise. I think that's where you thought, whoa, Ryan, Jesus. He has stepped up.
Wow. I've never called ArmWrestler before. Not falling for it, Don. Fucking awesome. Yes.
Wow.
Holy moly. There you go. The call out has happened. Just blown away.
Not Underwood show us.
That stopped me mid-sentence.
That's right. Always good to have a Hollywood, the original Hollywood, this guy in your corner to bring out the best in everybody.
That's right. And for some reason, I read somewhere, I think if that super chat gets topped, then Matt Connelly has to change his nickname.
I am 100% in concurrence with that. He also gave it to himself and has never, ever even been to Hollywood. Let's be realistic.
Thank you much, everyone in the chat so far.
Here's one for you. Listen, I'm gonna give you one. I'm gonna call it Dollywood Matt Conley. Dollywood.
That's good. I like that.
Think about it. Get in the gym, work out a little bit more, get some tits on them. You're missing them already. Yeah. Tits.
Actually, can everyone in the chat please give some suggestions if Matt Connelly happens to change his nickname, if he does a lot more work with Don Underwood, what nickname would you give our Terminator friend Matt Connelly? Let us know.
I never thought I would meet Don Underwood, talk to Don Underwood, let alone be on a show with him ever. And it's like, hang on a minute. Oh, no, I've been exposed. My fake nickname.
How does that feel, Matt? Like, because you've been in the sport a couple of years, doing what you can, and then suddenly this is a couple of times now. You and Don have gone head to head with a chat and a laugh. I
know what it feels like. He went to a party with his gay friend, got roofied, woke up, and no one was there. And then he was walk of shame home with a hobble. That's what it feels like, Matt Conley. Tell the truth.
Yeah. No, yeah. All my branding has got that on it.
There you go. Phil Woody, UK, is coming with Matt. Plagiarism, Connelly.
Yeah, that's accurate. That's accurate. Never thought I'd be in this position, so hey.
Well, we're on two different islands, so as long as we ain't in the same room, we can make this work.
You're the original. You're the best. You're the greatest. I know, and yeah, I'm in awe. I'm lucky to speak to you, mate.
Thank you, sir.
Bollywood in there. First of all, Ryan and Marcus, thank you very much both just with your giant super chats. Genuinely humbled for the support you guys do. That is for sure. So it's starting 5 p.m. Central Time. This is going to be, I think, an awesome event, and I genuinely hope that we can have 30, 40,000 people watching it at one time. I think the talent on the card, because I remember at the pre-warm-up for the last pay-per-view factory, people like Strawberry Cough, Joel Cagle had an amazing match.
Yep.
Like they were all highly entertaining. The Ron Bath, Paul Lynn match was unbelievable. So
yeah, don't forget about the ladies match, that probably match of the day. Unbelievable. Yeah, Danielle and
that's
yeah,
right.
so
They were good there. So
Lee Aaron Wilson, yeah, that was incredible.
Yeah.
But here's something I got to applaud Michael Todd for, is putting together matches that are going to bring, I think, the entertainment value out. These are very, very good guys that are not going to just sit there and arm wrestle. I think they're going to bring their personalities out, because everybody involved is just special. Even the undercards, you can go back to an exciting match of Dustin Hyatt and Cody Vanderweerd, which is, Dustin's just killing the lower classes, and Cody and him had a war at one of Michael Todd's tournaments a little over a year ago, and that's what made this match interesting. And it's a ranking match, so I'm going to tell you something. That's going to bring out the fireworks as well. There's not a match on here that's just, we can go piss or get ourselves another round of chicken wings, because they're all excited.
Yeah. Oh, they on paper, it sounds like a monster card. Absolutely. What do you guys think of the number of matches? It's always a fun topic of mine. King of the Table, we had 3. East versus West, we can have 13, 14. We've got a good handful here. Ryan, you've been in the promoting game, and you've been to many events and things like that. What's 4 super matches? 1, what is a good number of matches on the card? And 2, how many rounds should it be?
Sure. Well, the number of matches on the card for me, it comes down to what you can handle as a promoter and a production. Keeping in mind that, as again, I'm trying to look at it through the lens of the viewer. What are they watching? Is it building constantly? If it feels like it's building constantly, cool, that's a good number. If your commentators are struggling to keep that build going, the number's probably too big. So for me, that number's probably around. I feel like around 6 to 8 matches is about the sweet spot. And as for rounds, I've always been a fan of the 6 rounds. I don't like best of 5s. Sometimes they're over just as I feel like the match is getting going for at least for the top end guys. Maybe the first 4 matches that are kind of those mid-level guys, they're best of 5s. But as we get into the serious names, 6 rounds for me.
6 rounds with sudden death.
Yeah, if it's 3-all, then silver bullet stuff for sure. And yeah. I actually enjoy seeing, like, a loss can be glorious as well. Like, I love seeing a 6-0 as long as they fight to the end. Like I know for me as an arm wrestler, if I'm down 5-0, I'm still at the dude. I'm like, I'm gonna freaking get one. You watch me get this last one. You watch me get this. Oh, like that's me. I love that. I did that when Justin Bishop beat me 6-0 in 2017. At 5-0, he said, "You want to call it?" And I'm like, "Hell no! You put your arm back on the table. Give me one more shot." He won it, but hell, I wanted it. And so I don't know.
Let me ask you this: Ryan, let me ask you this, or all of you. You know, you're seeing these best of 5 super stop at 3. Do you think they should go all 5?
Well, when they're stopped at 3, I just feel like there's more to give. There's more story in the match. I'd like them to go on. Yeah, I would. I think Levon's legacy, for instance, of never having dropped around, he's 6-0'd everyone. That's freaking cool. I love it. 6-0s are just, they're way more epic than 3-0s. I don't know. As long as it's done well.
I hate that. Sweet.
I absolutely hate the PAL's top 8 format. I watched the top 8 finals in 2019. It was so long to watch 6 rounds. Oh, it took forever. So no, it can't be like that. 6 entertaining rounds for me, please.
Well, you're looking at 6 seconds per on each of them, and I'd love to know what the fans want to see. If they're happy with the got to 3, that's it. And I've always said, if you guys want to pull the other 2, help yourselves. But I never seem to get any kind of, interest in that. And I always kind of want to see all of it. Now, if I'm pulling, I mean, I kind of lose my drive when I'm winning. I'm running around going, damn, that's over with. Because the buildup for me, I mean, I don't care how good I've ever been. I've always been nervous, always skeptical of how I'm going to beat this guy. And looking back, I never realized how good I was. I was always right there amongst the best during my primes. And it just makes you, I don't know. I think all 5 matches can bring out some special, like you said, rest of the story if they can keep in it. Me, yeah, I want to win all 5. That's just pride for me. I don't know if everybody feels the same way or they feel a little bit of sympathy for the guy that they're stomping on, but
I think those later rounds are an amazing opportunity for the athletes to practice their craft of becoming a likable character for the fans. I mean, if you're in control, start talking, start letting rope out, start baiting, start doing something that's going to entertain your crowd, your fans. That's going to demoralize your opponent's fans. And the same can be done if you're the man down. Like, you can already start talking about this rematch or something you're gonna need to book, because look, I am coming home. You what happened to that endurance you got? Whatever. Like, you can start those later rounds. You can change gears in the entertainment side of things now that the match is locked in.
I like the longer matches, definitely, because you've got the strategy element. If somebody is doing something, they can play around with different techniques throughout each round, and maybe they got a flash pin. If somebody's super explosive and they might get a couple of early pins, but then their explosiveness starts to tire out, and then they have to see if they've got anything else in the bank and the ability to change some other techniques, and maybe that's where the other person starts making a comeback. But I like doing first 2-5. So first 2-5 wins, and that eliminates that dead rounds, because if you're going 6 regardless and they get to 4 and it's like, oh, well, I guess the other 2 rounds don't really mean anything. But if you're up 4-0, like, the other guy can still beat you. And it's like you have to get 5 wins to be able to actually secure the victory. I always prefer it that way.
6-0 sucks. 6-0 suck. I'm sick of watching them. I'm sick of all these matches being promoted, and one person is winning them all. They're not entertaining for me. They bother me so much. I want to see some come from behind, 3-0 down, and winning a silver bullet. But that's just me being a bit greedy.
Yeah, Neil said that. Neil Pickup said that a lot for a long time. When you come to Arm Wars, he wants matches, and if you're dominant in a match, I mean, he wants to see you give a little bit, maybe grip a little lower, or slow down your speed, or make a match out of something. But a lot of the matches that I were in Arm Wars should have never made television, but because of who I was and what I was doing and the promos involved in it, like the Yoshi Kanai match, should have never made it. It was one, but it was so intense that the after expressions of me and some of the promos. Again, if you can find that entertainer in you, and remember that people are watching, and what would you want to see if you were watching that's on television? And, that's something I always just tried a little too hard and actually figured it out, that somebody's going to like you. It's not always, and I'm always a little different. I'm not the same guy. So we've learned that if you try to be something that you're not, it's not going to be super successful in most cases, so be yourself. But what would you want to see and what would you find entertaining? Ask yourself that before you get started, and then do something similar and see if it works. I mean, trial and error, but we got to have that entertainment value, even in 6-round matches.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, we're going to wrap it up in about 5 or so minutes. So if you've got a question for myself or the other 3 gentlemen here, please jump them in the comments and we'll pick a few out for these
Can
guys.
Can I ask Don a question?
Yes, you can, mate. You don't have to ask.
Don,
if you can
your
ask a question.
favorite match you've ever had?
Favorite match. I mean, the most significant matches were with Devin, obviously, in the event of Sin City. As far as matches go, beating Devin, it wasn't even that. It was the one with Ryan Espy following that. So Ryan Espy, Don Underwood in the finals of the Arnold Classic 2010 on the big screen, and me gripping him and letting him hit into that and just smiling as I did it will never, ever be anything less than the best win match of all time. There's 10,000 people watching, and it was just unbelievable.
That would have been cool. That would have been very cool. Victor asks, do you think John, I'm guessing John Brezink, could reach top 6 overall in the world? John has also stated he's feeling like his old self and his hand is stronger than ever. What do you all think?
Yeah, look, he can. It's not impossible for John. There's a few guys that I think are out of reach for him. The LeBron obviously types. The guys that are just that little bit bigger. But John's the GOAT. He is time.
Yeah,
and he's already close. He's already close to that 6. Depending on how he goes these next couple, if he beats On Gabayev, then he's going to be booking himself a match against the winner of Hutchins and Prudnik. Prudnik is already in the top 10. He's around 8 in most people's opinions. So look, John, who does John need to beat to become 6 right now? It's someone like if he beat Kadecha or Gennady or someone like that, then he's in. How far is John away from beating Kadecha? Look, he's got to be close. He's got to be close, hasn't he? So.
I think whatever John wants to do, John can do. If John wants to be the number 1 in the world and be the first person to pin the Van, then I think he can do it. He's just John. Yeah. What do you think, Don? Don, can John Brezink get in the top 6 overall?
John can do anything he puts his mind to. He's proved it in the past. He can prove it again. You got to ask him. And like I said, I think what he says is golden. He's done things that we've all kind of shook our head at for a life. And I think he's got, a lot of time left in this sport. I think he thought he was done, and he realized that, he just couldn't let it go. So, yes, I think John can, and I think he can reach the pinnacle again at 58, 59, even 60 years old. That's the great part about this sport, and he is the best ever. So, yes.
Amazing his age. Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to see it. I'm just so glad that he's back. When he was retired for those, I think it was 4 or 5 years or something that he had stepped away from the sport. It was always that question of, oh man, how good would it have been to see John in at this time when, seeing arm wrestling really start to rise to that level. And then to see him make that comeback was like, yes, finally he's back. Awesome. And he didn't just come back with like one match. He's had so many in the time he's been, since he's been back. When I think within the first 6 months, he had a match with Devin. He's incredible. I'd love to see him in the top 6. I'd be interested to see if he wins his upcoming match and he can beat Todd Hutchings. I mean, how could you keep him out of top 6 at that point?
Yeah. He's a star. He's an absolute star. Our friend Fox Hayball, good friend of ours, good friend of the arm wrestling community, has jumped in and says, Ryan Bowen, are you coming to Whitby in September?
If Whitby is somewhere around Manchester, United Kingdom, then yes.
Yeah, so it's about an hour. I think it's an hour or so drive because Fox 8 Ball's having a soup match with Uncle John.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so I might be going over there to call the action. So,
unreal. I love it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I'll be in that region as well, man. So let's line it up. Why not?
Yeah. There you go. Thank you very much, Fox. Phil Woody UK's got a question for Don. Says, Don, should I bring you some magical Yorkshire tea? You'll take out Levan on it. Bam.
I don't know why you would.
There you go. Guys, have you got any more questions? If not, we'll have a wrap up. Just having a look. Marcus Thompson says, Whitby getting more promotion than any other event due to the usual suspects starting to build momentum. Jake, the commentator, Phil Woody, he just jumped in there. Roger Canningham says, would be epic to see John be 300 pounds with delicious tits, pull 11 and win. I'd get a love for a game boner. Says our man, the King. The King. We've got here. If Devon wasn't injured, that would be John's next opponent. Nah, I think it'd be Todd Hutchings, to be honest. That would be my one. And everyone's now talking about the Whitby thing. We'll wrap that up, guys. We've been going for about an hour and 46 minutes. Ryan, can you give anyone a bit of a teaser of what's coming up on your channel?
Oh man, I'm back now. This week I'll be turning all my attention to it's the Monster the pay-per-view, or not pay-per-view, Monster Factory production this weekend. Those two big matches at the top, particularly, they're huge talking points. So I'll be doing some sort of coverage of them in particular. Don Underwood, wish you well as well during your match there, Sarah, against the Gator. The Gator, was it?
Gator man.
Gate, I'm not sure how to, but anyway, nice guy. He's super intense. He's going to bring the best out of me. I plan on poking the shit out of him. If he's a bear, we should see a roar out of him as well. That should be an exciting matchup and very, very violent. I'm looking forward to face-to-face competition and don't give a fuck. So get you some. Get you all you want, young man.
Love it.
Drink all that Don Underwood up. Get it all over your face. Matt Connelly, what's happening in the world besides rebranding? What's happening on your side of the channel and arm wrestling?
Yeah, pushing the matches that we've had at the SA Titans Club. We've got one coming up this Sunday as well, which will feature myself and the rising star Hamza Hodzic. The Hammer is only 17 years old. He's actually taller than me. And he's improving every single week. He's only been in the sport for about 10 months, but he gets stronger every bloody week. And he's asked me for a super match for the last month or two. And I'm like, I better get in now while I still have a chance, because I think in 6 months, this guy is going to be next level. He's also pulling on the Garage Wars that Andy and Mario are putting on. But you'll also see a video coming out this week. I did an arm wrestling demonstration at the gym that I work at, which was a lot of fun. The funny thing is, when you're in that environment and the guys that are lifting weights, they're big, they're strong, and then they might have that sort of proud kind of like swagger to them, and then they turn and they see the arm wrestling table and they go, oh, they walk straight away in the other direction. They don't want to get on there. It was funny. So I was there for 3 hours. The first hour, no one would come up. But after they sort of, a couple of people did, and they sort of saw that I was just allowing people to beat me, and it went on from there. But that's what you will see on my channel this week.
Yeah, beautiful. And of course, Don Underwood is just ripping arms off over there at the Monster Pay-Per-View Factory. We're definitely going to be keen with that. And I will be going live straight after the fix this morning. I think that's back on. So I'll jump in and go live straight after that. And yeah, I'm the same as you, Ryan. Everything is all about the Monster Pay-Per-View Factory, because it's not a pay-per-view, the premium live event, we'll call it this week, because it's going to be absolutely smashing. Everyone in the chat, thanks for hope you enjoyed it. We'll see if we'll do this every week. We'll see if this is a good time for you guys. We were just trying something different, and of course, when we all get together, it is highly entertaining. But I'll be back on the air in under 9 hours, I reckon. So we will see you guys. Have you guys got any last words for the show?
one last thing, guys, poll your fans. Let me know what they want to see, how we want to get together after the event. I'm able to do, give me an hour after event, a couple hours after the event. I think the best version will be probably Sunday morning because I don't know how the after pool is going to go. So let me know. I'm kind of pushing for early Sunday as well, like this. And let's talk about the action at hand. Sorry.
I would love it. Would love it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome right there for that. All right, guys, I'm the Aussie Arm Wrestler. Ready, bang! And we will see you very soon.